Hey, this is Anthony Vincent, the voice of 10-second songs on YouTube and the lead singer of the band Set the Charge. This is Antihero Online.
So we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to touch on your YouTube career, and we're going to talk about your band a little bit too. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is mainly what encouraged you to start doing cover songs in different styles on your YouTube page, and what made you want to become a YouTube creator?
Well, the first part of that question, I started a custom songs business on a website called Fiverr.com, where you can sell things for $5 and up and kind of create your own little internet business, and you take it as far as, you know, you want to take it. So that's what I started to do. I started making custom songs in different styles because I had all this recording equipment. I was looking to run a studio and record other people, but that really wasn't working out for me, and that's a tough business to get into, especially these days when, you know, equipment is available for everybody to get and affordable. So I started to think of other ways to make money, side money, while I was working, you know, my jobs in retail and all that stuff. So I came up with the idea, 10-second songs, custom songs, 10 seconds in length, could be birthday greetings, could be anything. I did some stuff for podcasts, like, you know, jingles for podcasts or jingles for online businesses. I think at one point, you know, then it got to a point where people were buying all this stuff, and, you know, they were, I was doing really well with it online on Fiverr, and I had people who were contacting me outside of Fiverr, offering more money. So I started thinking, you know, maybe this is a good, you know, this opened my eyes. I was like, you know what? I think I want to get into jingles. I can do a lot in production, and I think that would be a good thing to do. Like, you know, if I can figure a way to get myself in that door, where, you know, I'm doing jingles for like some big brands, making some big money all at once in different, you know, and like all in one shot. And the first thing that came to mind, if I was doing like just a big brand, just doing a jingle for a big brand or whatever, that's what I wanted to get into. And so I was like, okay, how could I take this to the next level and kind of leave the Fiverr thing behind? So I decided I was going to take this to YouTube, a bigger stage, to promote this business, this sprouting business that I wanted to follow through with. And I thought I came up with the concept of taking a pop song and performing it and producing it in 20 different genres at first. And then I was like, well, really, you know, that's gonna genres. I mean, there's not that many genres unless you go into subgenres and stuff like that. So I said, okay, now I'm just gonna base it off of actual artists, you know. And I did it. The first song I did was Katy Perry's Dark Horse in 20 styles, and I just kind of pulled from my frame of reference. Like a lot of the bands that, for me, it's just like, it was easy. It was just a lot of bands that I felt like grew up listening to, a lot of music I grew up listening to, just my frame of reference. And I put it out. I created the YouTube channel, 10-second songs. I put it out. It was originally just going to be there to promote my business, and then the first video I uploaded, the next week I had 5 million views and 100,000 subscribers. So that's really just it. That's how it happened.
And it just kind of grew from there, and, you know, led you to a career to, you know, now you're balancing your solo musical career and a YouTube creator.
Well, yeah. The second part to the question was what made me want to, what was it, like, what made me want to get into YouTube?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, as much as this was something that I wanted to promote my business, I've been looking for an open door to start to make it on the platform on YouTube, because I started a channel for my band back in 2010, and we were doing some stuff like I was you know, just doing cover songs of popular songs in our style, rock covers, whatever. I actually got some pretty good traction doing that, and I always wanted to, you know, kind of step out of the box with Set the Charge and kind of do things in a new, different, interesting way, and try new things out. Instead of, we've been doing our thing on YouTube. It wasn't a band back then. It was just me and my brother who plays the drums, and we were just a two-piece. And so I was putting out these YouTube videos. That's when I started on YouTube. Obviously, I I was really just trying whatever worked, trying to get out there and get as much exposure as possible and whatever. I always wanted to come up with a viral video concept. Always wanted to have a viral video. So, but it's funny to me that the one time that it actually did happen, it wasn't for the thing that I was trying to make it happen for. It wasn't for the band. It was for something like me promoting my custom songs business. But so what happened with that, though, it put me in this position now where my business model completely changed, and I ended up being just an internet content creator. And it's funny how those things kind of came full circle in the next year or so, because here I was looking to write jingles for big brands, and I ended up doing work for brands through sponsored content for 10-second songs, and just figuring out this business that is internet business, that's YouTube business. And I'm still figuring it out, because there's no right or wrong way. You figure it out as you go. There's people do things in different ways. It's just but it all comes down to multiple sources and figuring out figuring out your own groove, really.
Yeah, and
I'm just so yeah, it's put me in a position to like kind of essentially, like, I see it as a, in a way, I see 10-second songs as like my band's record label, almost. I've got 2.4 million subscribers on the channel, so I mean, what better way to launch an album than to just do the single in 20 styles, or in this case 16 styles. Why not? Like, a good way to put it out there, to let people know that I do have a band. And I'm not one of these people that's I'm not naive to think that everybody's going to go and listen to my band. Like, I'm not trying to leave 10-second songs behind, but I feel like, for me, it's important that people know that I do something for myself, like something that my identity exists in music. It's not just different voices,
Oh yeah, totally. And I talked to Nate Wants to Battle a couple of weeks ago, and he pretty much said the same thing. Like, him creating the music that people see and hear on YouTube was just an outlet and a way for him to get his creativity out while he was creating original content for himself and for his band. And now he's kind of like using that YouTube stardom as a platform to be like, hey, this might be what you know me for, but this is where my passion is at. Is that the same with you?
Yeah, no, 100%. It is. And I mean, like, this is my passion play. Yeah, my band, my own music, because it's my own message. I'm the lyricist. If there's ever something I want to say about anything, whether it be something about my life, whether it be something about what I think what's happening in the world, or whatever it may be, instead of going to a Facebook status or a Twitter a tweet, I put it in lyrics in cryptic ways. It's like, and that's very important for me. I got to do that. Like, and if I don't do that, then I'm wasting away creatively. The other thing is with the good thing about 10-second songs, for the past 3 years that I've been doing it, I've learned I'm on a completely different experience level right now than I was when I first started. Because in doing this and forcing myself to take on new challenges from fans that are asking me to do styles I've never even heard of at times, and having me actually, give it a shot and give it 110%, I'm forcing myself out of my comfort zone, and forcing myself to stretch my limits far beyond anything I ever thought I would, which has helped me learn so much. And I've learned such a variety of things by being able to do that. I've brought it into my experience. I feel like that really has affected the way that the original music is being composed now.
Oh yeah. And how this is kind of like a catch-22 situation, because what do you think fans of your channel are looking for when it comes to your music? Are they looking for, you to do a song in the style of Nirvana or Frank Sinatra when it comes to your original tracks?
All I know is I don't know what exactly people expect out of my original music. I do know that not everybody is interested in my original music, which is fine. I don't expect the entire audience that I have for 10-second songs to migrate over to Set the Charge. I know that's not going to happen. But like the way I see it, the way I word it, and whenever I do shamelessly promote my band in a way that's creative, I make sure that it's done in a creative way. Like I just put out Everything But Me in 16 styles. I had it so that I didn't put the style names. It was like Guess Our Influences contest, so that people, got people involved. It was a fun little thing, a fun little exercise. I'm not doing it in an obnoxious way, and I just tell people, look, you know what? You may like our stuff, you may not, but just give it a shot. And if you don't like it, it's cool. I'm still going to be doing these videos. It's and I have fun doing them. So that's that's the thing about this, is that it doesn't make me feel trapped that I'm still working with 10-second songs, because 10-second songs now is my job. Mm-hmm. Like it's really what sustains me financially. So I'm fine, and it's a fun fucking job, So and like, how many people can say that their job can help propel their original project?
Yeah, true. New single for Set the Charge is Everything But Me. What was your experience like having different hands involved in this project when you're used to doing everything pretty much on your own?
It's not easy to give up complete control. But you know what? I like as far as the music video goes, I like the concept that Steve came up with after he listened to the song a bunch of times, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's just go with it. Let's go with it. Didn't even question it. I just did everything, and I was very happy with how it came out. And then you had, with Rob, we went through like 7 different revisions. As far as the mixes go, we really, with me and Rob, when because Rob actually, he also works on 10-second songs videos, mixes all the music for that too, mm-hmm. And we always go back and forth, like, and find a happy medium between both of our mixing styles. I'm a very street kind of mixer. Like I have, like, it's like you have street fighters who can, maybe they can fucking beat the shit out of someone, but they don't have proper technique. And then you have like MMA fighters who just are completely, they have technique and they do things properly, and they can just put you out in two minutes, whatever. That I'm like a street engineer. I don't do things correctly, but I like what I like, and sometimes if I don't hear exactly that, it kind of screws with me. So there's like we have to. I'm learning. It's a learning process. I'm learning from Rob, and he even says himself, like especially with the 10-second song stuff, it's like a production boot camp for him, and he's been doing this for 20+ years, So everyone's learning equally, and it is a balancing act. Like I've got it. Like I've been learning more and more to just know when to let it go, and to not push it, and it's good to learn to let go of control, because there are people, you do have to trust that other people can creatively make, you have to trust other people's craft as well,
Yeah. How does it kind of like resonate with you, and how does it make you feel when it comes to surrendering that little bit of control to give you an opportunity to focus on creating new content and writing new music?
Oh, it's uncomfortable, but it's also freeing at the same time, and I know that it's necessary, and I just gotta tell myself, suck it up and do it. And it is worth it. It's completely worth it, because I am because I've done this for so long by myself. Naturally, I like being in control. but I'm not like a vicious control freak. And the more and more that I work with other people, the less and less I hold on. You got to learn to let go, you know.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're working with the right people, you'll know right away if you're working with the right people. And if you're working with the right people, I mean, like, really, look, I would love for, you know, one day to just be out of the driving seat altogether. I mean, like, it's bad enough. I mean, even with this album, I had Rob who mixed and mastered this album, but I was in the pilot seat, you know, engineering myself, doing vocals as always. It's like I want a hands-off experience. I would like to eventually have a completely hands-off experience, work with a real awesome producer or something, you know, like whether that be Rob or whoever down the line. You never know what comes, you know, what's gonna come up down the line, you know.
Yeah.
But I would love to. I'm looking forward to the days of being completely hands off, you know.
Oh yeah, totally. And the single that's currently out, Everything But Me, can you give me a little bit of information about what inspired the lyrics to the song?
I wrote those lyrics back when I was 20 years old, and it's actually the oldest song on the album. I was going through my hard drive looking for potential songs to be on the album, or just going through my hard drive and seeing if there was anything that popped out at me just for the hell of it. And I listened to this. I was like, you know what? I can work with this a little bit and kind of bring it to the modern time now, because back then I had a horrible voice. I guess you know, I don't know. I was very undertrained, even though not the whatever. I was underdeveloped, and it was more of like it was just me and an acoustic guitar. It was kind of like a 90s alternative track that it was originally called Too Free. I always hated that name. I thought that it was just a really dumb name. So I kind of cleaned up that name, got rid of the Too Free thing, left it Everything But Me, changed up the chords a little bit and the key. I put it in a higher key for, you know, this new one's in a higher key. And you know, we brought it to the guys, and then Derek and Tom, who's, you know, the bassist and guitarist, they're also very big on production as well, so they do some electronic stuff, and we turned it into this track. I mean, the reason why I thought the lyrics were perfect, I wanted to do a 20 style version of the single, and I was like, okay, well, what song is going to be the single? It makes sense to have this song be the single, because the lyrics are, I feel like, become everything but me, and it would just be ironic, or I don't know if that's the right word to use. It would just be funny if it was done in different styles, because it's like, it's me saying I feel I've become everything but me in different styles. It does have a meaning like that too. I feel like back then when I wrote it, it was I didn't really connect with it as much as I connect with it now. So it was almost like I was writing about the future. Not that it's a negative thing, but it kind of, like, in its raw form, highlights the frustration of not focusing enough on your own identity, especially in my particular circumstance, when I'm constantly putting out videos in the style of other artists.
Like, the big thing that I wonder is, how do you find the time to dedicate to your own personal project and creating original music for your own band, and then maintaining your job as the YouTube creator side?
I don't know where this is all going to go. I have no. You never, like, you can have a plan for the next 5 years and say that, you know, a 5-year plan, and say, oh, I know where I want to be in 5 years. You can even plan for the year. Like, that's what I do every year. January, I plan all the things, benchmarks I want to hit for the year. But things happen. Things come up. Like, you'll get, like, you know, like a brand wants to work with you here. Or maybe you have a video idea that then takes things in a completely different direction. You never can predict what the hell's going to happen. I don't expect this album really is going to do anything, because it's a very eccentric album. I think that a small group of people are going to like it, and that's all I care about. Like, if it does anything big, well, you know, if it does something big enough, then that changes everything. Now, you know? Yeah. So you kind of just have to play it by ear. But that's my whole thing. I'm in a groove right now, and I have things on the chopping block, and that's all that really concerns me at the moment is the fact that I know that I'm busy right now. You know, that I'm not just sitting around twiddling my thumbs waiting for things to happen. I'm always keeping busy, so therefore I'm just going to roll with it. Whatever happens, happens.
How do you plan to kind of separate the two? Like, between the band and the 10-second songs, you know, how are you going to separate yourself as Anthony Vincent from Set the Charge to, you know, from the 10-second song guy?
Well, 10-second songs, I mean, visually already, like, I don't dress the same way whenever I'm in 10-second songs mode. I have a very specific, you know, thing that I go for. 10-second songs is I'm taking it in a quirky direction. Like I like to just get as goofy as I can with it because it's very, the idea of 10-second songs is already very wacky as it is. You know, it's very all over the place and whatever. Set the Charge has got you know, we're looking to, I mean, even just with the way that we've been branding it out there and just the album cover and the overall look and the theme that we've been trying to cultivate, it's got a vibe that's I don't know how to describe it, but there's an atmosphere to the vibe that is definitely different from 10-second songs, and I plan on keeping it that way. I'm very careful about even if it's just an energetic thing. You know, I'm very careful about putting out my 10-second songs energy into Set the Charge. Mm-hmm. I have my own Set the Charge energy, and I have my 10-second songs energy. Like, I keep it separate in ways that are both in appearance and energy and personality.
That kind of leads me to my last question, and I'll wrap this up. So one, what can fans expect from the record? And two, what were the major influences behind the record when it comes to the sound?
Listen to it with an open mind. Listen to it from the first track to the end, if it interests you enough, you know. And because we have all these little different things that kind of segue into each other. Expect a sound that, I mean, and I say this nervously because I have a tough time categorizing all this stuff. Expect a very diverse album, and expect not to know how to classify it. It's rock, but it's rock with elements that you don't normally hear fused in with it. It has like an older classic vibe throughout the album. Like, as far as the influence goes, I would say that I kind of feel like there's like an 80s, 90s pop thing at times. There's definitely like a 90s era type feel to some of these songs, but it's modern at the same time. It's hard for me to, I mean, some songs kind of feel show-tuney at times. It's dramatic at times. It's theatrical. I really do have a tough time. This is like, I have a tough time categorizing it. I can't, because I can't come out and say that. I mean, people people have said things like, oh, it reminds them that there are Muse vibes. You know, I mean, you think about a band like Muse, they're kind of like in that vein where they have every song has a different flavor. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like where I feel like we belong in that world, even though we don't sound like Muse. We belong somewhere in that world, even if it's like in a dark corner of that world, that really weird dark corner of that world. But it's expect complete uninhibited rock music that's different than what you're used to. I don't know how many, like, that's the one thing I told, I've been telling people, and even just me and the guys are talking about it. It's like, hey, you know what? There's one thing that you see, a common criticism that you'll see about when new bands emerge on the scene, and people are like, this is generic, boring, whatever. The one thing you can't say about this album is that it's generic.
Yeah.
And I actually say that with confidence. I don't speak too confidently about my own music, but in that particular case, I can say it with confidence. You've never heard of music that's exactly like this. And I'm not saying, oh man, you never heard music like this before. I'm saying it more like, just very matter-of-factly, like, you haven't heard this sound before.
That's everything that I have. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to say whatever else you want to say about the band, about the record, and give some plugs for where people can find you on, social media, find the band, all of that stuff.
Well, you can follow the band at Set the Charge on Twitter, Facebook, to stay up to date on everything that we have going on. The album, Sky Goes On, will be released on September 26th. You can find it everywhere, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. And then, me, if you're interested in seeing songs performed in different styles, you can check out my YouTube channel at 10 Second Songs, TEN Second Songs, spell out the 10.